There is a specific kind of silence that happens when you reach the absolute edge of your capacity. It's that moment when the motivation has evaporated, the plan has shattered into 1,000 pieces, and the why that once drove you feels like a ghost you can no longer touch. Most people tell you that in this moment you need grit. They tell you to clench your teeth and muscle through. But grit is a finite resource. If you treat endurance like a brute force activity, you will eventually snap. True endurance is not a muscle, it is a philosophy. It is a way of relating to the transformative fire of struggle. Today, we are going deep. This is a 30-minute blueprint for the soul in crisis. We are going to look at how to move when you feel paralyzed, how to find footing in the no man's land of transformation, and how to keep your fire burning when the world is trying to blow it out. We aren't just going to learn how to survive the storm, we're going to learn how to become the storm itself. Phase 1. The Biological Command Center. Reframe stress as a mobilizing ally. We have been conditioned to fear our own biological responses. When things get tough, your heart begins to thunder in your chest, your breathing becomes shallow, your palms sweat. We label this as anxiety or failure. But let's look closer. Your body is actually flooding your system with energy. It is dilating your pupils so you can see more clearly. It is pumping blood to your muscles so you can move faster. If you believe this stress is destructive, it becomes toxic. But if you look at that racing heart and say, "My body is mobilizing for the challenge," you change your chemistry. Your blood vessels remain open and relaxed even as your heart pumps. You move from a state of threat to a state of challenge. Your stress isn't a sign to stop, it's the engine starting. The 4-4-6 Stress Reset Protocol. When you are in a state of functional panic, your prefrontal cortex, the part of you that makes rational decisions, is effectively offline. You cannot think your way out of a physiological hijack. You have to breathe your way out. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold that breath for 4, and then, the most important part, exhale for 6 full seconds. That long exhale is a manual override of your vagus nerve. It is a biological telegram to your brain that says, the predator is gone, we are safe. You aren't just breathing, you are reclaiming your mind from the hijack. Pause, 15 seconds for music swell. Entering the psychological deep dive. If you are in a season right now where the old world is falling away and you don't know where to step next, hit that subscribe button. We deconstruct the mechanics of the human spirit here every single week. You don't have to navigate the dark regions alone. Now, let's talk about the architecture of your rebirth. Accept the dissolution of old structures. Jung believed that we spend the first half of our lives building an ego, a container for our identity. But eventually, that container becomes too small for the person we are becoming. When your life collapses, it's not because you did something wrong. It's because the structure you built is finished. Trying to patch the cracks of a dying life is like trying to glue leaves back onto a tree in autumn. You must allow the dissolution to happen. You must let the old ego image fall away so that a truer, more authentic version of yourself can occupy the space. Letting go is the prerequisite for becoming. Grant yourself permission for uncertainty. Society demands that we always have a plan, but rebirth requires a transitional zone. This is the space where the old you is dead, but the new you hasn't been born yet. It's the psychological no man's land. If you rush to rebuild out of a fear of emptiness, you will just build another fragile cage. Growth happens in the void. Give yourself permission to not know who you are for a while. Let the silence speak before you start making noise again. Integrate the dark region, the shadow. The shadow contains everything about yourself you've suppressed to be acceptable. Your anger, your raw ambition, your deepest fears. In times of crisis, these parts scream for attention. We often mistake this as breaking down, but it's actually a breaking through. By acknowledging these neglected parts, they stop being destructive ghosts and start becoming conscious energy. To be whole is better than to be good. Microdoses of connection. When you are in survival mode, you tend to isolate, but chronic isolation sends a signal to your amygdala that you are a lone target, which keeps you in a high alert. You don't need a gala, you need a microdose, an authentic 30-second conversation, a 20-second hug. This releases oxytocin, which acts as a direct brake on the amygdala. Connection isn't a luxury, it's a biological safety signal. Physiological compassion. When you are exhausted, high-intensity exercise can actually be interpreted by your body as more war. Instead, use regenerative movement, a slow walk in nature, conscious stretching. This isn't working out, it's metabolizing the accumulated cortisol and adrenaline. It is a gesture of compassion toward the body that has carried you through the fire. Task batching as a safety protocol. Stop treating every email and task as a life or death threat. Your brain can only handle so much context switching before it enters a state of functional exhaustion. Group similar tasks together and work in 90-minute ultradian cycles. This respects your biological wiring and prevents the functional panic that leads to burnout. View suffering as the soul's final language. We have been taught to treat suffering as a malfunction, an error message in the code of a happy life. But what if suffering is not an accident? What if suffering is the soul's final language? Jung suggested that the psyche only resorts to pain when its gentler signals have been ignored for too long. If you feel like you are breaking, it is because you have been living a life that no longer reflects your inner truth. The pain is the alarm clock. Instead of asking, how do I make the pain stop, you must have the courage to ask, what is the pain trying to wake you up to? The transformative fire is not an enemy of your life, it is the architect of your destiny. It is burning away the persona, the mask you wore for others, to reveal the face you had before the world told you who to be. Embrace wabi-sabi, the peace in the broken. In the West, we're obsessed with the new, the shiny, and the perfect, but endurance is found in the Japanese concept of wabi-sabi, the appreciation of the weathered, the cracked, and the incomplete. Your scars are not flaws in your story, they are the story. The cracks in your life structure are exactly where the light enters. When you stop demanding that your life be perfect, you stop the war against reality. You find that a life that has been broken and put back together is infinitely stronger and more beautiful than one that was never tested at all. The power of non-explanation. One of the greatest drains on your energy when things are tough is the unconscious resistance of trying to justify your state to others. You feel you must explain why you were tired, why you were changing, or why you were failing. But sovereignty begins with the slow choice to stop explaining. When you stop defending your right to be in a transition, you reclaim a massive amount of conscious energy. You are not a project for others to analyze. You are a mystery for you to live. Silence is the boundary that protects the new life while it is still fragile. The rebirth of the I. Finally, we come to the act of naming. The first step towards a new order is the courage to name what you are truly feeling without analysis. When you can say, I am lost, or I am ready to end this, you end the painful split within your own soul. You stop living against yourself. In this moment of absolute honesty, you find an inner anchor that the world did not give you, and therefore the world cannot take away. You are no longer trying to keep going. You are the going. You are the flow. You are the breath. You did not come this far only to come this far. The dissolution of your old world was not a tragedy, it was a clearing of the ground. You don't need a grand plan for the next 10 years, you just need the next slow choice. You need the 20-second connection. You need the 4-4-6 breath.
You have been through the fire, and you have discovered that you are the one thing the fire cannot burn. Endurance is not about how much pain you can take. It's about how much of yourself you are willing to meet in the middle of that pain. When you stop the unconscious resistance against your own evolution, when you stop trying to keep a version of yourself alive that has already completed its purpose, something incredible happens. The energy you were using to hold up a crumbling wall is released. You find an inner anchor that the world did not give you, and therefore the world cannot take away. What is the one slow choice you are making today to prove to yourself that you are finally on your own side? Tell me in the comments. Let's witness each other's transformation. If this 30-minute deep dive gave you the anchor you needed, share it with someone who is currently lost in their own storm. You are the fire that cannot be put out. I'll see you at the finish line.